The 11 main things that appraisers look at when you get an appraisal. So what exactly is a home appraisal? Well, it's a third-party, unbiased, professional assessment on the value of a home. And the reason this is used is to help figure out what the current market value of that home is to help determine a fair buying or selling price. Oftentimes, these are absolutely required when getting any type of lending on the home, and or even making changes to a current mortgage during like a refinance, for instance. Now, in some cases, if you're doing a home purchase and you're buying cash, you technically don't have to have a appraisal conducted, and because they do cost money, but it's always strongly recommended because they can find things that you wouldn't realize. That brings us to, what exactly does an appraiser look for or look at?
Oh, hey guys, good to see you there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you.
In no particular order, I'm going to go through the 11 main things that your appraiser is going to be looking into or looking at. And the first one that I have for you is just the general condition of the home. Kind of like the wear and tear, how has the current occupant been taking care of things, what are the general materials used in the building of the home, and how have they aged. Things like that are going to be a pretty decent factor when it comes to the value. Number 2, and this is a pretty big factor, is the home's location. Is the home weird in some way for where it's located? Is it too big or too small? Extra rooms, not enough rooms, things like that. So the location and the value of the location is going to be huge because they're going to be using what's called comps or comparable properties based on size, room types and numbers, and building materials to help figure out roughly what the value for that area is. Number 3 is the actual date the home was built, and or if there's been major renovations or additions and when those happened. Because building requirements and or general rules of thumb have changed throughout history, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. So when it was built and how it was built is going to be a big factor. Number 4 I have for you is the exterior. Now, believe it or not, I put this in front of what's coming for number 5. But for number 4 is the exterior, the yard work, how the home looks when you first look at the home, how the backyard feels, what's typical in the area. Is it typical that families spend a lot of time in the backyard or in the front yard? And how does it actually look? What kind of condition and materials are used? That's going to be a big factor. And I put that in front of the next one because it's the first thing that is noticed. Now, the very next one we have is number 5, which is the interior. Now, most other people are going to agree that the interior is actually more important than the exterior because that's where everyone's living. And this is mostly true. Your appraiser is going to spend most of the time on the inside of the home. And the reason that I put exterior first is that can set a tone. A bad exterior is going to put a huge damper on even a phenomenal interior. So you always make sure that the exterior is very good. Now the interior, they're going to be looking at, like I mentioned before, condition of things, the layout, and dates on important changes like how old the hot water tank is or the furnace, egress in and out doors and windows. These are going to be features that they're going to be interested in, and how the hallways are lined up, things like that. This brings me to number 6, which is going to be the home design. This is going to be a general thing that they're going to look at. Does it match the area? Is it selling well in the area? That actual design of that home. And is it outdated? So is it considered an old-fashioned design, or is it too strange? These different considerations are going to come into play while they're trying to figure out your value. Number 7, I would say, is a pretty serious one, and it's water damage. They're going to be looking for signs of water damage everywhere. Any type of leak in a roof, or a wall, or especially foundation for flooding in a basement, it's gonna be very important. And if you're buying a home, you absolutely do not want that. If you're selling a home, you're gonna wanna consider having that fixed first and what that would cost versus how much you're going to lose on a sale if you just disclose it. Because serious water damage can cause huge problems for people, and that's not something that anybody wants. So definitely make sure that you discuss water damage with your appraiser if you've noticed anything at all. Number 9 is in general going to be the main factor, or one of the very main factors that's used in determining how much value a property has, because it's going to be the strongest thing used for your comps or your comparables in other properties, which is going to be the size of the home. The factors here are going to be literally the livable square footage, so what is finished in actually livable square footage of the home, and then secondary would be the exterior property or land that's included with the deal, whether that be garage, shed, pole barn, or just actual yard, fenced or not fenced. But the biggest factor is going to be that livable square footage, because that's going to be what is mostly determined to figure out how homes have been selling in your area. Number 9, and this is one that a lot of home sellers will forget if their realtor didn't help them out with, and that's going to be recent renovations or updates to the home. So if you've made any repairs or renovations within the last year, 2 years, 3 years, or even longer, if it's a new roof, new furnace, or a new hot water tank for major things, you're gonna want a reference to that and make sure that the buyers know that. Even brand new appliances or appliances that have been bought in the last 5 years, these are things that you want to mention, and an appraiser is going to try to look at that. If you're selling a home, then you definitely want to mention it. A huge no-no, and something appraisers are going to keep their eye open for, is going to be any signs of pests. Any type of roaches or bug infestation or rats, any signs of that is going to be a huge red flag for an appraiser. And last but not least is going to be safety features. If there's any unique or typical or non-typical safety features of the property, or if it lacks safety features that are common for the area, that's going to be noted by that appraiser and affect the value, of course. For more details on how appraisals work and are things that could improve the value, come on over to the Lending Dictionary. We have a few really good articles about that. And of course, keep watching our videos for more.